Hey! Hey!
What the hell are you doing out here, Nick? What the hell are you doing? No! 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 What the hell are you doing out here, Nick? How did you get out here? Nick, if you're real, you better tell me right now. If you're real, you better tell me right now. Damn it, Nick! Damn it!
That's it. You think that's good enough?
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
You can't handle the truth! King Kong ain't got shit on me! I am the third revelation!
I am so much crazier than you.
I am the one who knocks.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Nice thing, big boy, huh? That's Brock. Fuck you.
Everybody on? Good, great, grand, wonderful.
Welcome to Facing Off, a podcast in which we contrast, compare, and rate movies.
Cool.
Hey, Gabe.
What's up, dude?
I was watching you go for our guest today's face, and I thought you were just gonna touch him.
Well, I thought I could bring down the volume, but you're still just coming in hot. And you know what? We love to hear it. We love to hear it.
I always do. Well, I am the last man on Earth, Nick. This is my co-host, the second to last man on Earth, Gabe.
Hey.
And our guest today, the third to the last man on Earth, also Nick.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hey, man, even if you were the third to last man on Earth, I wouldn't sleep with you.
Thank you for clarifying.
Nick, thanks for coming back on, dude.
Absolutely. Feels good to be back, you know? First repeat guest host, I would say, right?
Yeah.
Boom.
At some point,
Yeah.
you will be the host. You will take over this podcast.
Exactly.
You are like
Slowly
a
but
viral
surely.
outbreak.
I'm the infection.
Yeah, you are.
So all the other guest hosts can suck it.
That's
I'm
true.
officially the first. Nobody can take that away from me.
No.
I am the first and the only, well, not the only, but the first repeat guest. Well, technically 2.5 times since I was your first audience
He
member
was.
for
He
the
was our first
live
live
show.
audience member.
true.
Yeah, he's a diehard fan of the show.
You are the virus.
You
Yeah.
know what
I'm
is
grown.
funny?
You
I
didn't
told Alec Smalley, your friend from college, my friend from high school,
buddy.
and Nick's friend from life, that last week's episode was our favorite that we ever recorded. And then he got really mad because he was on one. And then, Clay got into it too. And you know what? We're about to make it even better, Alec. And guess what? We brought Nick on before we for a second time before we brought you on. So
In your face.
what's up, dude?
In your friggin' face.
In your
Hey,
friggin'
guys.
face, you friggin' turd.
Hey guys, the end is really fucking nigh. Okay.
Yeah, the end is really freaking nigh, dude.
Yeah.
Because our two movies today are apocalyptic zombie thrillers.
Yeah.
I Am Legend versus 28 Days Later.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen these movies, I don't understand who you are, but if you haven't, probably my mom, you should stop it now. So we're because we're gonna spoil this, and I think it'll be really fun to spoil it.
Yeah, both of these are streaming widely
Yeah,
Both?
currently. So go do it.
wildly streaming for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Without-
it just starts playing on your TV without you being in the room.
No regard.
Feral streaming for
It
sure.
knows you're home.
Yeah,
It knows you're home.
It definitely does.
So, why not?
It's pretty terrifying.
Feral streaming.
Unless you guys have any shout outs, Nick, you can hit us with the synopsis. of both of
I don't
these.
have any this time. What
about you, Nick?
Stay inside, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inside. Shout out to all the essential workers out there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, shout out to the guy that works for Instacart that brought me all my food today.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, not only
Love
the
that.
Shout
doctors
down-
and nurses, what about the people at the grocery stores? Like those people are
Delivery
not getting paid a lot,
people.
and they are freaking working.
People at Home
They're on
Depot.
the front line.
I saw someone that was like in a Baskin Robbins like mascot costume, and he took a picture. He's like, "How the fuck am I an essential worker?"
Yeah.
I'm sure it was a joke, but
Yeah, I've
still.
seen that with the Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Ice cream is essential.
But yeah, that's a good
It
shout
is.
out. That's a good shout out.
For sure.
That's all we got?
Sure, man. I mean,
Okay.
shout out to the world. We love you.
Yeah. I Am Legend versus 28 Days Later. I Am Legend is the story of Dr. Neville, the last man left in Manhattan after an experimental cancer cure infects the whole world with a deadly version of the measles. Super measles, called the KV, or whatever her name is, virus, the K virus, turns the infected into rabid vampire mimes. 3 years after the outbreak, Dr. Neville, a former military virologist, roams New York with his dog, capturing the infected and experimenting on them to try and use his own immunity to discover the cure.
That's hot.
He captures one female, it's super hot. He captures one female Darkseeker to the dismay of a male Darkseeker and eventually has to kill his own dog after that male seems to seek revenge by copying Neville's patented Darkseeker trapping system and infects Neville's dog. Heartbroken at the loss of his only worldly companion, Neville goes on a killing rampage and almost loses his own life. He's discovered by Anna and a child named Ethan. Two other survivors, Anna and Neville, argue over the humanity of the Darkseekers and the existence of God before the Darkseekers very quickly take their revenge. Neville realizes his cure works and sends the cure along with Anna and Ethan as he sacrifices his own life to extend the lives of Anna, Ethan, and all of humanity.
Holy shit. Does he really?
Yep, he is legend. 28 Days Later is the story of Jim, a bike courier who wakes up after 28 days, in which he was in a car accident-related coma. He's in the UK, and he discovers that there are no people around in the UK, but also all the Pepsi is free. He learns after meeting a woman
Pepsi-free.
named Selena and a man who dies shortly after we meet him, so his name doesn't matter, that the United Kingdom has been overrun with individuals who are infected with a virus called Rage that is transmitted by contact with the infected's blood. Jim and Selena meet up with Frank and his daughter Hannah after noticing their beacon for help. Frank, Selena, Jim, and Hannah search for a military safe haven broadcasting over the radio. Shortly after Frank is infected, the military men kill him and rescue the others. Their haven is not as safe of a haven as previously thought, though, as their leader tells Jim that he's promised the 9 men there that they would get women. And Hannah is a girl,
Oh, yeah.
and Selena is a woman. So the military men try and kill Jim, but he survives and releases the military men's captive infective man who wreaks havoc on them. Jim, Selena, and Hannah are rescued 28 days after that.
Wait, are they really? Nice. That's what I'm going to do at the end of your synopses from now on.
That's what
Wait,
happened?
did they really? Interesting. Thank you for telling the story of these two films.
Don't do that every time I do these, because sometimes I write these and I'm like, was I paying enough
No,
attention?
those were great. Those were highly detailed, great synopses. Actually, I want to ask before we get into like breaking these down, Nick, why are these two movies important to you? Because you were excited when I said that we were going to do this episode.
Absolutely. I mean, 28 Days Later is definitely within my top 10, if not higher, horror movies of all time. Like, I'm a huge horror movie fan. I think growing up, being the youngest of 3, my brothers early on exposed me to horror movies and made me watch them with them. Shout out to Evil Dead, one of my favorites of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically Evil Dead 2.
Did you like the remake of Evil Dead?
I
Evil
did.
Dead? Okay,
I
cool.
did.
That's Sam Raimi, right?
Yeah. No, both
But he
are
did
great.
the old
OG,
ones, too, yeah.
The OG is the bee's knees. So love horror movies. And I mean, I Am Legend. Everybody who doesn't love Will Smith?
Yeah.
I mean,
This
very
was like
lovable
peak
person.
Will Smith, too.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like I, Robot and I Am Legend and I love Will Smith.
Right, exactly.
It was all of those.
And I love the 2000s. So
God damn it. I'm starting already.
Yeah, this one came out in the millennium.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, we're happy to have you on, especially for a horror movie, since we brought you on initially for not a horror movie. What did we have you on for originally? Oh, superheroes. Yeah, that's right. Well, this is going to be good.
Great.
We are going to take these two movies and we're going to break them down based on 5 categories. And we are going to... What's wrong, Nick? Are you being...
I'm just trying to make the face from I Am Legend. Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
So we're going to take these two movies and we're going to break them down by based on 5 categories and on a rating scale of 1 to 7, 1 being the lowest, 7 being the highest, 4 being the one with the hairy chest, the middleist, average. So we're going to go through 5 categories: eye candy, actoring, spectacularity, originality, and legacy. Let's kick it off with eye candy. Nick, what's eye candy? What is it?
What is it to you?
Eye candy is how good the movie looks to your eyes.
Is it, yeah.
What are we going to start with?
Let's start with I Am Legend.
Okay.
What did you think of the way that the monsters look? Just like the face I was making.
Dude, it has aged horribly.
Awful.
I mean, that movie is maybe 90% CGI.
Yeah.
And it's rough because I remember when it came out, it was like amazing to look at. Everything. Like when you saw the lions and stuff, you're like, holy shit, that looks like a real lion. Now it is so difficult to watch, not on like a theater screen.
I don't think the lions look bad.
No, but
I
the
don't know.
infected, even when it came out though, the infected
looked a little
it
silly.
looked a little ridiculous. And it's like, for a scary movie, the villains can't look silly in any way, shape, or form.
they
That's
look
ruined
animated.
so many great horror movies, is having the reveal of what the bad guy is, and if it's like super stupid, it ruins the entire movie.
Totally.
And this one was definitely
Doesn't he? Who's the bad guy in Hercules? Don't they all look like
Hades?
skinny versions of Hades?
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
So, in I Am Legend,
It's not a good thing.
the infected have been given a cancer cure.
Measles.
Yeah, they've given like a
Shout out
strain
all
of
the
measles
cancer
that they
too, right?
tried to
Yeah.
make into a cure, but the cure doesn't work. It
works at
turns
first.
them, makes them like, it works at first, but
She's
not,
so
and then it makes
cocky
them.
about it too.
I know.
I know. Yeah, the movie opens with the woman who invented it talking about the cure.
Yeah.
She's just so full of it.
How many been cured?
But then
I don't know. I found her to be pretty
then they
humble.
sort of become
She just
sort of
cured cancer.
no big deal. They become a little bit like vampires,
Yeah.
but
yeah, for sure.
pale, right?
pale
So
and
this is
bald.
for our listeners that haven't seen it. Pale
They're
and bald.
pale and like muscular, but they're all wearing the same CGI outfits that are like ripped open shirts.
Yeah,
They're all just shredded up.
it's-
they're cut
it's
like
weird.
a diamond.
It's like, does it stretch? Everybody is 6'2" and like 180 pounds.
Yeah, and they like it especially looks weird when the girl's like on the operating table. And her chest is just moving, and I'm like, this just doesn't look like a thing or a person, so I don't believe what's happening.
Yeah, so the monsters they all run like 105-degree fever, 106, 105-degree fever, and breathe really rapidly. So the whole movie, you just have these like gray, weird, like strong mimes, just going for like the whole thing, and it just doesn't. Yeah, you guys like it doesn't look like people.
I mean, they spent $150 million on this movie, which is a crazy budget. And it like I'm when I watched this the first time, I wasn't into like cinematography at the time. It was like what, 2002 or 2007?
2000.
Those are very different years.
I know, but they look a 2 and a 7 almost look the same in my head. So
Was it 08?
Yeah, maybe that is right. But I think at the time, like, it looked awesome, and I walked out and like
we should know this. It was 2007.
Okay, 2007. And I don't know. There's another thing that's really annoying in it. They like make lens flares all the time. There are lens flares in every single scene, which is like something that J.J. Abrams would like cream his pants over. But like it's in every single scene, and it's like.
Can you describe what a lens flare is?
It's like basically like what a lens flare looks like is like on the screen there will be like a red. it's kind of hard to explain without like showing it, but it's like the whole length of the screen there'll be like a red light as if like a sun is on the screen.
Okay.
So and it's like now that you watch like J.J. Abrams movies, like if you watch the original or the first Star Trek that he made, you'll see it in there, but it looks cool.
Yeah.
But he's really well known for doing too many lens flares, and this one it kind of like hurts some scenes.
Yeah.
But I still think it's like visually fun to watch. I mean, it's like exciting. Too. It was a good use of its budget. It just ages poorly visually for me.
Yeah, I like the flashbacks. I like the way that you find out how his family died.
Dude, the flashbacks are really actually really well filmed. Yeah, and I like the editing. The editing is really good for the movie.
Yeah, it gives you like it really does give you the impression that of just how devastating the like virus was.
Yeah. What did Nick Doria? What did you give it?
What was your rating?
I gave it.
It's gonna be high, huh?
No, I had it at a 3.
Oh, that's totally fair.
Because it's just I think there's some great parts, like you said, the lion and everything like that. CGI was good.
Yeah, if you think about when it came out.
Right. But I honestly could probably give it a 2. But the CGI monsters just like it ruins the whole point of the movie.
Yeah,
it's still a great movie, but it ruins that whole aspect of it. But walking around Times Square, and there's all the posters up and everything. And I think during the time, like, if it's 3 years later, but all the movies are 3 years old at the time, which is kind of cool. When
that is really cool when you
out.
watch that. Yeah.
Batman versus Superman.
I know, is one of the posters, which is so cool. Except for that movie ended up not being so cool. They should have left it as a poster.
But yeah,
dude, the poster though that they use is really cool. The Batman versus Superman poster in there. Yeah, that's a great point. I forgot about that.
But yeah, I don't know. I gave it.
So you gave it a 3?
Yeah, I gave it a 3.
I'm at a 2.
Yeah, honestly, I could probably.
I also gave it a 3.
But I think my 2 is like now, because I care so much about visual quality of movies now, because movies are a visual medium in which we see like a story. Like, I care about it, but I will technically speaking, like I hated the visuals so much that I almost want to give it a 1, but I have to remember when it came out, like I loved it and I thought it was visually great and I thought it was ahead of its time in some ways.
See, I don't think I ever liked the monsters. Apparently they tried to film it with people, like real people, not CGI, and the director thought it looked like it did look
like it too.
It looked like angry mimes.
Yeah.
It does. It looks like freaking what's his face. They do look like who's the mime in Pokemon?
Mewtwo?
Mr. Mime.
Oh, wait, no, Mr. Mime. Yeah.
Mr. Mime.
Mr. Mime.
Yeah, it looks like Mewtwo.
It looks like Mr. Mime. Oh, and Mewtwo.
Anyway,
it's like pigment.
We started with
it's like
eye
a mixture
candy
of them, too. Yeah.
Because we have a lot to say about these.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of 28 Days Later? I want to hear from Nick.
Yeah, I want to hear from Nick, too, because he loves this movie.
So, honestly, I gave it a 7.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We're going to be...
Yeah. Honestly, it could be a 6, but for me, this movie sticks out so well. This was the first, I distinctly remember, this was the first movie I ever saw, and I was so curious how they shot it. Like, I remember looking up, how did they shoot this all of London just being totally desolate and empty? Probably, maybe not a 7. It could be a 6. Give it a firm 6. But just how they shot all of that it was so cool. Yeah, it does look a little dated with shooting it on like a digital camera. And now it looks a little bit more grainy, but I like that. I thought that plus like the quick camera movements made it a lot more raw and real.
I agree with that.
And I just think that I give it a 6. It was different. It's not like a huge blockbuster movie where, they're dumping all this money into it and they're
small budget for sure. It was like $8 million, I think.
Yeah. And like for $8 million to do all of that, I think it was, I gave it a 6.
So while I was watching it, Nick and I were talking about this because like it looks visually terrible to me. Like awful looking. But I didn't. I was like, what the fuck were they filming with? Did they like blow their budget on something else?
Yeah, it's these small handheld digital
But then you get
cameras.
to the end of the movie and it's super clear, you know, when they're in the field and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it was purposeful.
Yeah.
But see, I moved it. I had it at a 2 because I really didn't visually like this movie until I got to the end and I started realizing, oh, he's doing this to show like the abandonment and the graininess of this and like kind of the utter chaos without like focusing on like CGI imaging and stuff. Me, I didn't like Danny Boyle for a really long time as a director. Like I liked his movies. I thought he was great.
Trainspotting and everything.
Yeah, but Trainspotting was like the one low budget movie that he made that I really, really liked.
Yeah, the rest are
Even like, I don't know, like Slumdog Millionaire is a great movie and so is 127 Hours, but actually, is it a great movie? I don't really like that movie. But there were some visual things he would do that just were really annoying to me. And so I don't like the way it looks, but I did notice there are certain shots that he does that are like the way he uses reflections. Like when they're driving and then when she's telling the story or whatever, and you could see Naomi Harris in the thing. What about you, Nick?
So 28 Days Later has this like Nick was saying, this kind of grainy,
kind of
like
raw.
dark, raw quality to it. And I honestly, because I hadn't seen it in so long, thought that there was something wrong with my TV.
Yeah, same with me. I thought I got like a bad quality version of it, even though it was from Hulu.
It's on Hulu, yeah.
And it's kind of shocking in the end when you see that it was an effect.
Yeah.
Right, they just changed totally different
It's almost like your
cameras.
TV just turned into an HD TV after it was like one of those old like 1950s ones.
So it takes some getting used to, but I don't like the interesting thing I was thinking is I don't remember that being a problem when I first saw it when I was like a teenager.
I agree with that. I
don't remember that being an issue at all. Like the Infected looked pretty good is in comparison with, you know, I Am Legend, where they're all CGI weird monsters that distract you from the movie. So I think it lends itself to the chaos of what's going on, like you said, Nick, and I think that it ends up working in the end. But I gave it a 4 because it takes so long to adjust to it.
Yeah. I do want to
ultimately I think it uses it to a good effect, but I just like I don't know, it doesn't work for me the whole movie.
Yeah. That's I mean, I would say it's more that it's not that it's bad, because there's this one shot also when it's Naomi Harris and what's the main guy's name in it? Jim, and then what's her name? Selena. Yeah, so when Jim and Selena, like after Mark dies, and it has that sky view of them walking, is like fucking incredible. Yeah. And I'm like, just do shots like that. Well, there's also like really randomly a shot when they're driving and the flowers are like a painting of flowers.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really cool, but I'm like, do that more often in the movie. Don't just throw it in for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Because that's awesome. I love when you like manipulate reality in that way. And that's actually something that Danny Boyle did that you and Alec Goldberg, my roommate, really liked in Steve Jobs, when he like puts the like rocket like blasting on the side, because it kind of takes you out of thinking it's reality. It becomes a movie. I'm still at a 3. I mean, it's just only slightly below average, but that's actually more of just like a personal taste against
it ends up making it eerie and odd and disconcerting. So I had to give it some credit for
it's a
being
purposeful
effective.
effect. And I do want to shout out also, I think the production design is like incredible in the movie. And the way that he sets up the city and stuff when Jim first wakes up from his coma is like, it's fucking insane. Yeah. And I'm sure most of his budget went to that. So wait, you gave it a 7 or 6? Okay, and Nick 4, 3 for me. Let's move on to our next category. Let's do actoring. Actoring is where we talk about the performances and whether the actors were good or if the writers and directors allowed them to perform at the best of their abilities. Let's start with you, Nick, and let's keep it on 28 Days Later.
I gave it a 5.
Okay.
I thought the performances were good. I mean, there was just there was some corny parts to it. I think the love aspect between Selena and Jim was super forced and really not real and believable at all.
Yeah.
It's just like, I think it starts out with her giving him like a peck kiss on the cheek.
Right.
And I was like, that was really weird.
Yeah, it just kind of came out of nowhere for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, this is Cillian Murphy's first, like,
I love him.
main thing, like first thing he really did that was big, right?
Yeah. He had like an Irish movie before it, and that was like it.
Yeah. So him and Brendan Gleeson, I mean, awesome.
Yeah.
I thought they both crushed it. I don't know. The writing, some of the aspects of the writing I wasn't a huge fan of. But I don't know, like Jim just meeting up with Selena and Mark, and suddenly like they're totally cool with going to the other side of the city, risking their lives to see if this guy can see his parents or something who they know is dead.
Yeah.
But just little stuff like that. I don't know. But I thought overall, I enjoyed it and I thought it was good, but there was just a little things that made it didn't flow as well as I thought it could have.
What about you, Nick? Other Nick?
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't know that the writing is ideal in this. I think the directing, like all those things that we're talking about, there are some really cool choices made in this movie, and that's part of why it has the legacy that it does. And I don't think anyone's bad at acting except Hannah.
Yeah.
Oh,
girl?
dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's
what?
awful.
Thank you for saying that. She didn't do anything after this. She doesn't even
What
have.
is up with
She doesn't
that?
even have an image for her name on IMDb. That means that she just didn't amount to being an actress afterwards.
Well, she's
bad.
horrible.
yeah,
yeah,
she
that's-
is.
that's a-
It's really bad.
She delivers a couple lines as if she's literally a cardboard box
Yeah.
in the shape of a girl. There are a couple lines that are so wooden, it's insane.
Yeah.
She's like, no, don't.
She's really bad. I mean, we
Why?
hate child
Don't do that.
actors. Hey,
I
if you're
think-
a child actor out there and you're listening to this podcast, just be good at your job.
Just
piss off.
get outta
Yeah,
here,
get out of
man.
here.
you're poor.
You know what's crazy is like I forgot Naomi Harris was in this, and now Naomi Harris is like a huge actress, and she's great.
Yeah.
I think she's great as Selena.
She's great in it.
I think some of the character writing, I agree with you. The romantic part of it is a little weird, but I think she's great. I mean, she's an Academy Award nominated actress now for Moonlight, and then she filmed her scenes in like 3 days, and then Moneypenny as well. I love Cillian Murphy. I mean, he's one of the most versatile actors out there. I love watching anything with him. He's still like he's still a that guy, even though he's an A-list star. I do think his character is really fucking annoying in the first half of the movie. He just like doesn't understand the gravity of the situation. Whereas I think someone would kind of pick up on that at least a day later. And the part when he's like, dude, one of the worst like acting scenes, and I think this is a directing decision, is when they're running up the stairs and he's like, Selena, don't leave me. And it's like, but it's like cutting back and forth, so it just seems like an overacting scene.
Yeah, she's probably like
not even
six
that
steps
far
ahead.
behind.
Dude,
Yeah,
right?
She's
She's
like,
right in front.
please.
Dude, thank
He's
you
like,
for bringing
he's like
up.
a quarter of a flight of stairs behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
It's like, dude,
no.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like almost like one of those like skits or something where someone's like an inch ahead of the person and they're reaching out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brendan Gleeson, amazing. I love everything that Brendan Gleeson does. He's one of the best Irish actors. Just incredible range. Noah Huntley as Mark was so good, and he has like 2 scenes. And the scene where he does the whole monologue about what happened to him and his family is great. And then the scene where where Selena kills him is still haunting to this day.
Oh, man.
And I couldn't stop thinking about
chops
that.
off his arm is the thing infected, and he just puts it in front of his face.
And he's like,
It's the
no!
first
And it's
thing
like
to
so
go.
quickly. She just fucking chops
Yeah,
his arm and then kills him.
that's a huge part. Just like goes to show how quickly you need to make snap decisions, which I
Right.
think we'll talk about a little bit later. But yeah,
sure.
it's awesome.
Oh, one last person. Christopher Eccleston, who plays Matt from The Leftovers as the Major, is so good.
Yeah.
And this is one of the first early roles when you're like, wow, this guy could play a really weird character that's only subtly weird. And I mean, I'm going to talk about it later, but everything with the military is
very
interesting to me.
Very Apocalypse Now.
What did you give it, Nick Tellier?
A 4.
Okay, I was hovering around a 4. You gave it a 5?
Yeah. I mean,
I might stick with a 4, even though I think it's like really close to being above average. I just got to think of like all horror movies. I don't know if it really stands out acting wise.
Honestly, it definitely teeters on the line, and I'm just gonna hold because I already said what I said.
Smart. Hey,
But,
support this movie. Support your local businesses and your favorite movies.
But yeah. Well, kind of one quick thing to the point you said about Jim and coming out of it and how unrealistic it was for him to kind of catch on to the gravity of the situation is he's walking around the city so confused at what's going on, and he walks up to like a newsstand and he looks at the paper and then maybe reads like a quick headline and then immediately drops it.
So
I'm
typical.
What is going on, dude? You are so lost. This thing is your only idea of what's going on.
I know. Why wouldn't you read that?
Yeah, there's
exactly.
nobody around to explain
That's
things.
a good point.
And he just immediately drops it and keeps walking. But
That's
other
true,
than that,
dude.
you know.
Hey, everyone out there, don't just read the headlines, okay? Keep reading.
Yeah, read the news.
Yeah.
Be woke.
You might
Stay
find
informed.
out about a zombie apocalypse.
Let's talk about I Am Legend acting.
Okay.
I really want to start with a discussion of do you guys think Will Smith is a really good actor, or like just he's good at what he does? Man, I'm interested. I'm not actually attacking his character.
I
think he's a good actor.
Yeah.
But really good. You think he's like one of the top?
He's always fit in good roles.
True.
He doesn't have crazy range. His range isn't very wide, but what he's put in, he does a good job.
He's got good range of genre. I don't know if he has range of like character. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
definitely,
comedy and
definitely
drama, he's amazing.
Like him in Wild
that
Wild
switch.
West?
Yeah.
Could you believe him as
Nick loves Wild Wild
I mean,
West.
hey,
by the way.
I love that movie too.
It's like one of
Don't
his
get me
favorite
wrong,
movies ever.
But would you? Yeah, I wouldn't say his acting in that movie is anything.
great.
He's just being Will Smith.
Yeah.
Wiki Wild.
I'm fine with that. I gotta say this. Going from the town to this, I remember when he did the pull-ups in this, and I was like, holy shit, Will Smith is so strong. Ben Affleck looks like he ate Will Smith in the town when he does his
He's
pull.
beefy,
They
too.
both
He's
do
just
it. Yeah, he is. He's a thick boy.
Will
It's that
Smith is just
Massachusetts
freaking-
blood, dude.
Yeah, man.
It's as opposed to the Philadelphia blood.
Right, exactly.
Fuck Philly.
Bunch of
That's
losers.
right.
But when Will Smith loses Sam the first time, where he
it's-
thinks he
it's
lost him
incredible.
in that building,
Oh,
and you
man.
just see him like,
He's like, I gotta go, Sam. I gotta
good.
go, Sam. And he keeps doing the light thing, and
Oh,
I'm like,
dude,
dude,
that's-
just go then.
It's so that.
Who
that part
cares
is
about this
awesome,
little
though.
dog?
can't.
No,
That's his only
That is like probably
person.
my favorite moment of the movie.
They do it like.
and that dog is a great actor.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Abby
that
is
dog
the
does freaking.
yeah. We should talk about Abby right now. That's the name of the dog. Incredible. Will Smith tried to like have the dog afterwards, and he was like probably willing to pay like $3 million or something. The person was like, no.
But those two are basically the only actors in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until
did a good
Anna
job.
shows up and kind of throws a wrench into things. And then the kid, do you watch Ozark, Nick?
Yeah, I do.
He's Wyatt.
The kid is Wyatt.
But he's not far.
wow.
He's not far into Ozark. He was
I'm
like
2.5 seasons.
Oh, 2.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
Or sorry.
Wyatt
I'm
then?
1.5.
It's 1.5. Yeah, I'm in
Yeah,
that
so you
that
know
season.
who
kid
he
is Wyatt.
Yeah.
That's crazy. He just stretches out.
He
a
doesn't
little.
Wild.
talk in the movie. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he picks up a knife at one point. I think
Hey, he's good. He looks.
does
Yeah.
not.
He does a lot with that knife. It's very impressive.
I mean, but I think Will Smith is good in this movie. I think this is one of his good roles. I mean, he makes you feel.
Yeah.
And I mean, the writing could be better, probably.
Yeah, okay, I do like his
but, you
monologue about like the stats or whatever. He's like, that's 1.1 billion, and he like is doing it in her face, and I thought that was actually good acting and a cool part of the script. I don't like when there's like certain lines thrust in where he's like, God didn't do this, we did, or whatever. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, he is good, and I think he's really good at. I thought the scenes I thought he was great in the scenes where he's like really sad. Like when he goes to that video store afterwards and he's like, please just say something to me, is like pretty impressive acting. I do have to point out, by the way, though, that he was in the adult film section. It was like clearly porn all around. And I couldn't take the scene seriously this time because I was just looking around and I'm like, he placed that girl there though. And that's a hilarious idea by the director. But yeah.
And he really sells the I haven't talked to another person in like 2.5+ years.
Yeah.
When he's talking to Anna and he's just like he like averts eye contact.
He plays that really well.
So I gave it a 5 because it's pretty much just Will Smith being good. So I was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And he's clearly
the chick that
in
plays
an
Anna's
all
like,
CGI area, so he like literally has nothing around him. So what about you?
I mean, I think given the circumstances, he crushed it.
Yeah. What about you?
I gave it a 5 as well. I mean, just like you can't nitpick at like the entire movie. It is 90% just him. And like obviously, there's going to be some faults. He can't crush the entire thing. If he did, it'd be a 7 out of 7. But for what it was, he did a great job.
Yeah, I do want to point out that the actor who played the alpha male zombie's name is Dash, and he probably fucked your bitch. Dash, dude. And that guy is shredded, and he's angry, man. He wants his girl.
Yeah.
Your girl, specifically. Yeah. No, actually, so I'm going to give it a 5 because of Will Smith. I do want to say, I think that the girl who plays Anna is horrible. And her line reading at the end of the movie, which I sent both of you guys in a Snapchat, where she's like,
I did.
On April 25th, he died. This is his legacy. He is a legend. And then she does and it's like as flat as possible. She goes, light up the darkness. Yeah. It's so quick.
Yeah.
It's bad. Dude, also the woman who with the bleeding eyes, who's like Take My Baby, is like a famous actress now.
Oh, is she really?
She's in Hell or High Water. She's the wife.
Oh, shit.
Who he has like a custody thing with.
Yeah,
She's you'd recognize her in other things.
Oh, damn.
Anyways, I gave it a 5. I'll do the same as you guys.
Tight.
Let's move on to our next category. Let's do spectacularity, which is where we talk about the engagement level of the movie and whether you were distracted or you were worried about runtime or you were taken out of the movie or you were just like fully torqued from start to finish. Yeah. I mean, talk about your boner during
Which one are we going to start with?
Let's start with I Am Legend, since we're on it. Nick
no score? No score, no problem, baby.
Yeah.
Movie doesn't have a score.
Oh,
shit.
Oh, true.
There's hardly any.
Wow, I didn't
there's
even
hardly any
notice
music.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
The whole movie.
Bunch of Bob
It's to
Marley.
me. It's intended to. Yeah, it's just Bob Marley basically. It's intended to make you feel alone.
I forgot to mention that his whole take on Bob Marley is like, dude, Bob Marley was dope, but relax about this, man.
Oh, I know.
Best album of all time.
He's like,
also, how does she not? How does Anna not
she's
know who Bob
Brazilian.
is? She's like,
she was
Damien?
geographically
Yeah, she says
closer
Damien.
to him than he was in New York City.
Anyways, it's a really fun movie to watch. It's very short. And the fact that there's no score is a really useful way to pull you into the movie.
Yeah.
I guess the director came up with that on accident because he was watching The Pianist while his son was sleeping. So he had it on mute.
Oh, okay.
And he thought that The Pianist was even more moving with no sound. And he was like, wow, if this movie about music can be moving without sound.
I mean, about music,
then-
it's not really, but
I mean, yeah, you know what I mean.
damn, that movie's
like
heartbreaking.
The movie is so short, but the payoff is like not enough.
Oh,
It all just like
interesting point.
it all just like kind of blows its load all at the end, and it's like, "Ugh," and then you're just like, oh, okay, we're done.
Dude, I do agree. I think they rope you in immediately.
Guess I'll take a shower.
A little ashamed walk away from the movie.
I love the way this movie starts with the broadcast or whatever. It's flipping between stations, and the lady just kind of casually reveals that she cured cancer with the measles, and then it just turns off, and then it's like and then it's like NYC is completely empty and Will Smith is just ripping through it in his GT, hunting with his puppy. It's like awesome. But for me, I am taken out of it almost immediately after that by the CGI. And I know that that's like a separate category, but in terms of like my engagement level, I felt taken out very often because of the CGI. I found it to be distracting. I mean, we already talked about the zombies. I do think that the jump scares are expertly put in. There are a lot of jump scares. I remember like almost pooping my pants in the theater when it's doing the flashback and the little girl in the back seat is like kind of complaining. She's like, I wanted to do this, and then all of a sudden the zombie or the person just smashes their face, and she's like, "Da, da, da, da." And then it like ends. I was like, dude, that scared the crap out of me. Dude, only like 25 minutes into the movie is when Sam like runs in, and if your heart rate isn't jacked to the tits your heart is in your tits. So if your heart rate's not jacked to your mouth or your jaw,
right,
dude, you're watching the wrong thing. The killing of Sam moment is like you're geared in. It's like in Warrior when he's holding Nick Nolte. It's like you're just like, this is such an emotionally powerful fucked up
Except for
scene.
Nick Nolte doesn't rapidly turn into a bloodthirsty.
I mean, but honestly, if he did, it would be better. But
killer.
What about you, Nick, Doria?
Yeah, no, I mean, to your last point there, I think the dog scene everybody remembers from this movie, and everybody hates watching it because of how sad that part is.
Yeah.
What'd you give it a score? What was your?
I think I was hovering between a 4 and a 5 because the CGI brought me so out of the movie, and I think that when I first saw it, it was like a 7, and now it's just harder to be engaged. Like, for instance, one of the best scenes in the movie is the scene where he's really angry and he goes to the pier and he like sets a trap for himself so he could just crush all the zombies with his car. That is just like 100% CGI and looks dumb as shit now.
Yeah.
And that ruined one of my favorite scenes of the movie.
And it kind of ruins like the whole mindset he has is literally protecting and finding a cure at all costs, and he's willing to.
Oh, like as a
himself.
story, as a story, it's dumb as fuck, and it's a dog.
He's just given up at that point, but it's like lots of interesting things happen in the movie, but they all happen so fast, and then it's all for what?
Right.
I do got to say, though, that they do expertly tease out what happened to his family throughout the whole movie. And I thought that was a really smart ploy for you to try to, like, you needed to figure out the whole... You were, like, it's like we normally have a true detective category when we do, like, thrillers and stuff. And I felt like that was what that was. You were trying to figure out why he's alone and what really happened.
Yeah.
Anyways, I gave it a 5. I'll give it a 5.
I mean... definitely some good points. I think just some of the negative or the moments that kind of took me out of it. I would say one of them was very early on in the movie. They do a great job of like it's a slow build. Like they're all here. He's cruising around the city. It's like, oh, this is a weird way to live life in New York City, and you kind of forget about the infected.
Yeah.
And then the beep 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 beep, and his watch goes off, and he immediately snaps to, and he's like, oh shit, okay, time for lockdown.
Right.
I was like, hell yeah, okay, that was great. But then 2 seconds later, he's sleeping in a bathtub with his automatic rifle.
And he wakes up in his bed.
But why?
Oh.
Yeah, why is he sleep? Why is he in the tub?
I don't know.
I'm so
I've
confused.
literally never understood that scene.
After 3 years, you can't think of a better way to sleep. He's not only just in the tub. There's no cushions. He's just laying in the tub.
Yeah, right.
I'm just
Yeah,
like,
he didn't make like a lined tub.
Yeah.
With like cushion.
I don't know. That it took me out of it because honestly, I was like, this is a weird way to live for 3 years.
That's such an interesting way of looking at that scene.
I never.
I mean, no, that scene has always bothered me, but it's more like how long does he do that for, and how does he wake up in his bed later?
Yeah.
When does he go to his bed?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That confused me.
And the days go by. Like, he has so much time to do shit during the day.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, dude,
It's
you've
always
seen how
pressing
many
against them.
infected he's killed?
Yeah. Yeah, straight up. He is the legend.
He's got like a whole...
Anyways, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Like a whole wall.
Yeah, his trophies.
But yeah, no, I mean, there was definitely a lot of great moments. That moment kind of took me out. Him jumping out of a 3-story window to land perfectly on the infected on his back and then just immediately jump up and be fine. Obviously, it's a movie and you gotta
Suspend
go with
disbelief,
suspend the reality a bit. And then one part that I guess I don't know if it really fits in this category, but when we're talking about the lady who got scanned, or maybe she doesn't even get scanned, but she's infected, and then
her eyes are bleeding.
His wife gets scanned.
Oh,
and
dude, thank you.
It doesn't. It says she's possibly infected, and then she gets a second scan. Obviously, he's got some power and everything, but like, how shitty are these things, and how many people have been pulled into the wrong group?
Exactly. My question is
because they didn't give him
that.
a second scan.
Right. I thought that was weird too, because it was like he was like, "Do it again," and then it works, and you're like,
I would have
"Wait."
been like being pulled into the
And then he should have been like,
"Fuck?"
"Do it again," but spread his arms out and point to every single person out there.
Yeah, I was like, dude.
I mean, the infection kind of went.
No big
pretty
deal.
quickly.
He's just the nation's leading virus.
Also,
expert.
how did
No
it
big
spread? I wanted more information actually about how it spread to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
deal. Measles is the most contagious virus on Earth.
Yeah, but they could have explained that more. You know
One
that
of them.
because you looked that up.
Yeah. We're living in the midst of a plague.
Yeah, that's true. So
I've been reading these things. They also say at the beginning of the movie that it's gone. His wife is like,
has it gone airborne? Yeah, that's actually kind of
but
a cool
there's a
point
difference
when they're
between passing between like the way that COVID-19 spreads is not technically airborne.
No, it's still viral.
It's
from
like
viral droplets.
It's like it's like droplets. Airborne is just like floating around outside.
Like the Planet of the Apes virus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final point though on that though is the fact it's 1 in 10 people are immune to it, and he just perfectly happens to be one of those people that are immune.
I know.
I mean, it is what it is. There's definitely a chance, there's a 10% chance of it happening.
This is his
But it
legacy.
is his legacy.
I mean, I gave the movie a 5.2. I just think that it there's a lot happening and it all happens really quickly, and that's usually something that I think is better for the engagement of level of a movie, but it just doesn't translate.
Wait, we all gave it 5s. Did you give it a 5 or a 6?
I gave it a 4.
Oh, a 4. Whoa!
Yeah, sorry,
I almost
guys.
want to bring it down.
Sorry.
Damn. Okay, well, let's talk about 28 Days Later Spectacularity, which I can't believe we haven't done yet. I guess I'll start. I gave it a 5 out of 7. I could be tempted to bring it higher because I do think it is a pretty engaging movie. I think zombies with rage is straight up one of the most terrifying things in the world. As stupid as it may be, which I'll get into in originality, maybe, even though I don't think it's that dumb. I thought it was kind of fun. I'm
gonna rip you a new.
So
face
shots
hole.
to shots at Walking Dead for having lame ass zombies. These were cool zombies. I love the way that this movie opens. That it's like a history of violence, and then it's like these guerrilla animal rights people come in and they release rage upon the world, essentially. And then a man wakes up in an empty city. And I thought it was like really authentic. And you were like, what the fuck is happening? Like it's completely empty and you're with this guy.
Yeah.
Because you immediately get a feel for what the virus is.
Yeah.
That it acts like quickly and it just makes you vomit blood
and want to rip people up. You're just constantly filled with rage, which is basically what is running through me all the time. But I gotta say, the opening church scene when he goes into the church scene is still absolutely terrifying to me. I should get it checked out.
So
I've
good.
needed to get it checked out.
It's so good.
I thought that was an awesome
He just
scene.
shouts out and you see them from the pile of bodies look up.
Yeah.
And they're just like,
Yeah.
Dude,
slack jawed.
Even more so is when he stupidly plays his projector, which I actually kind of thought was like cool editing, where he's in the thing. Although it looked bad, it was like cool editing. How the fuck did they come through the ceiling?
Yeah.
Which I've never understood, but it still shocks the hell out of me. It's
Absolutely.
a terrifying moment. It's very
Great timing.
loud.
One through the glass window and then one through the ceiling at the same exact time takes great zombie coordination.
Exactly. I agree. I actually kind of, whereas the other one didn't have a score, I kind of like the like punk rock sort of score in some of the scenes. I will say the scene when they're going up the staircase, which again took me out of the movie because it's such an insanely stupid scene. The score is really bad. Whatever's playing during that is like, I don't even know what it is.
It's not something that I love about the movie. It's actually the reason I didn't give it a 7. I gave it a 6
because of the score.
Because
or just that one exact.
I
moment?
didn't give it the score in general.
Yeah, okay.
It's not just that. That moment's the most egregious example, but I just don't think it doesn't work for me. But that's the only thing about it that doesn't work for me, really.
Yeah.
In terms of like how engaged you are after the first 10, 15 minutes and you get over the like the way that it's shot, you just like, you don't know where the movie's going.
Yeah.
And there are like legitimately huge surprises in the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Like when Brendan Gleeson has the blood fall in his eyeball.
Oh, dude, that's still one of the craziest scenes.
Incredible.
I always think of that.
And it was in the trailer too.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I remember seeing that in the trailer. I was like, I thought it was just like a random part of the movie, and you don't realize the emotional attachment it has to the like actual
man, what
movie.
a fucked scene.
Yeah, it's like the best character in the whole movie, and then you're like, oh, and then
It's right after he gets like, he kind of breaks for the first time and gets like really angry because he's like so upset that he
and then he only has, and then it's like you can just kind of see him realize that he's at like 10 seconds to apologize before he's got to off himself.
I know. Fuck, it's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I mean, when Jim gets shot is also legitimately a surprise at the end where you don't know if he's gonna like live.
Oh yeah, true.
But then he is at the end.
Yeah.
I gave it a 6. I really, really enjoy 28 Days Later.
For sure. What about you, Nick Doria?
I gave it a 6 as well, but honestly,
whoa, I'm surprised it's not a 7 for you.
I don't know. It is like there are just a few drawbacks. Like I give a 7 if it was the perfect movie. It's not the perfect movie, but in opposition to Nick, I love the score.
Yeah,
I thought the score
and
was
honestly,
awesome.
Nick, this is my new co-host. We don't like you anymore.
Yeah, so
because of his point.
yeah, exactly. So you can get the hell out.
Hey, you can get the hell out of here.
But that's really my only other thing to add here. I loved it. I thought the score was great. It's such a memorable score. Maybe there was some bad, like, or not bad, but you know, not the best use of kind of that punk rock sound or whatever. But the music they play in a lot of the intense scenes and a lot of him just kind of meandering around, I think it was awesome. So
I got a couple points, I guess. One that hurts it for me and one that like brings it up. The gas station scene, when he goes into the gas station, is one of the most ludicrously stupid moments I've ever seen in a movie. When he, right after they went to a grocery store, which I love the grocery store scene because it's so fucking English. They're like, oh, you want some crumpets too? And like, and they're like giddily going through it, and then it ends with the flower scene.
Single malt scotch.
Yeah, but I love Brendan Gleeson in that scene. I think that scene's really fun, and I think the movie needed that, or else it would have just been really dire. Yeah. But the gas station scene, when he goes into that gas station, even though it's kind of cool that he like beats some little kid to death, is just like such a dumb scene. Yeah. I guess you needed it so he killed something.
And he walks out without saying anything. I'm like, hey guys, there's a chance there's someone in there. Like I just killed a kid.
Exactly.
He just like walks out with like kind of almost a smug look.
Right. They might have been sleeping. Yeah. Right. He just feels so proud. But I will say this: spectacularity wise, all of the scenes with Major West and his soldiers are incredible. Like I want just a full version of that movie. That is like a different genre of horror that I love. It's almost like a Get Out version of horror that I really enjoyed. And
it's cool.
And then when Jim outsmarts them and then gouges that dude's fucking eyes out, which is crazy. Like, dude, relax, man.
The most brutal scene in the movie is
Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Selena's watching, and she doesn't even know if he's infected,
right,
or if he's just like pissed off.
Yeah,
and that's the great part because
dude.
like it just blurring the line between the infected and the real.
The way that they film the infected is they film them on a different I think they filmed them in like with a slow motion camera and then sped it up.
Oh, okay.
And the way that they filmed
doesn't look
Jim
like
during
that.
the whole second, not during the whole, I guess the third act up until like the kind of epilogue-y type of part of the movie, whenever he's shirtless,
Nice.
they film him the same way.
Oh, interesting.
So that he looks like he's infected.
You kind of just brought up a
so
funny
that
point.
You can't really tell.
And
That
he
I
already
could-
looks sickly and skinny.
He does. I mean, he looks because he's been outside in the rain the whole time, and he's
been in a
coma.
coma for 28 days. Which he
You
walks
just brought
out.
up a funny point to me. Is there's this one moment where the zombies are chasing them through that tunnel, which is a legitimately
stop.
scary moment, but they stop, and one of them kind
Yeah.
of throws his hand out. He's
Yeah.
like, "God damn it!" And I'm like, guy, you had one job. You literally just made it seem like you're not an actual zombie.
Right.
Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he just hangs out with the zombies. Who knows? All right, so
The way that the zombies operate isn't super clear.
no,
Yeah.
but it is. They're still terrifying. So I gave it a 5. They both of the Nicholases gave it a 6 out of 7. Let's move on to our next category, originality, which is where we talk
Okay,
about.
can we start with 28 Days Later?
Yeah.
We talk about
Okay.
how creative the movie is and whether it needed to be made and whether it stands out in its genre. Go ahead, Nick.
Because I'm gonna segue.
Okay.
The fact that the way that the infected zombies are in 28 Days Later is so original.
Yeah, totally.
You don't know anything about them. It's one of, if not the first movie where the zombies are zombies because of a virus, not some sort of supernatural situation.
True.
And its legacy that we'll talk about later is like hugely like staked on that premise.
Totally.
And it's like, I don't know. I think that 28 Days Later is super original. I gave it a 6.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I gave it a 6 as well. I think that it's like, so I actually was too scared to watch this movie when I was a kid, when it first came out, and I had to have someone, and it was like way before I did horror movies, and so I had to have someone explain to me the movie, and they explained the monkey thing at the beginning, and I never really understood what was happening, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then I watch it, and it's kind of like a shocking scene, but it's a creative idea. I mean, it is a movie, so you have to just like recognize that them showing a monkey violence makes them get infected with rage, and then that rage spreads.
No, that's not how they get infected.
Well, the monkey that they're putting in front of the violence is not infected. He's acting kind of normal. He's actually a little disengaged by the violence, but he's like he's acting normal. It's
not his
And then there are
preferred
ones in
genre.
cages that are that. They infect them with rage so they can study what rage is. Okay, and also
I don't think they infect them by showing them the video.
I'm
I
pretty
think
sure that they
they're
infect them with like
experimented on.
Okay. First of all, rage is also not a contagious thing, and so
No, but it's called the rage
virus,
virus.
right.
yeah, but I think maybe they infect it with them, and then they make it like hyper rage by showing them violence. But
That's what I think is happening,
yeah.
or they're trying to see if they can enrage one of them that is not infected to the similar level as the infected ones.
See, I would believe in that, but either way, you kind of just have to take that. They explain that to you, and you have to like suspend your disbelief.
Yeah, it's
and
still a
just
little
take-
absurd that they're strapped a
Dude, it's
a chimpanzee.
It's a
which is
hilarious idea.
Not a monkey, you idiot. It's an ape.
It's an ape.
Yeah, it is. Did I call it a monkey?
Koba is ape.
Oh yeah. I mean, you know what? Monkey see, monkey do. All right.
Yeah, dude, Koba is ape.
I do like
spit on my
that
microphone.
both of these movies are about outbreaks that were caused by people thinking they were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Like the rage thing, maybe they were infecting them with rage to understand society and try to stop human violence, which sure, that is kind of the nice thing, but it's more like the animal rights people go in because they think that these animals are being abused and tested on, and they think they're doing the right thing, and they end up causing like a whole outbreak, whereas like I Am Legend, you know, it was like curing
and
cancer.
how cool is
And
it
I love that.
that the whole movie, you don't know if the UK is infected or the world is infected.
True. Yeah, I love that.
And then in the sequel, you find out that it is just the
I
UK.
forgot about the sequel.
Right, because
Yeah,
they
it
just
is
lock
the
it
UK.
down, they blow up, and it spreads. People leave for like Manchester and
That's right.
out of London. Yeah, it's awesome.
What did you, Nick? This is
In terms of
interested.
originality, I gave it a 7.
Yeah.
I thought it this blew up the whole zombie genre. I mean, like zombie movies have been pretty played out at this point. Like I love like all the original zombies, Night of the Living Dead. My mom used to, my parents used to throw like Halloween parties in our house, and we'd pretty much just have an open door policy for everybody coming in and out, and we would have Night of the Living Dead running just looped throughout the entire. So I've seen that movie like hundreds of times, but it's always like kind of gets boring after a while. But this was, like Nick had said, this was like one of the first movies to actually have zombies sprinting and not like full sprint. And not only that, but the way people could get infected was a lot easier. So that made it even more tense. Like, just
It's so fast, and the vomiting.
Yeah.
So, you're vomiting blood. Like, it's not like a lot of these movies, somebody gets bit and everybody's like, oh God, how do we tell them? Or do I say something to people? Here, it's like, you will know within the next 10 to 15 seconds
whether you're infected.
this person is infected or not. Right. And I think that snap change is so awesome. I thought that was.
Think about that. That's a great point.
I thought that was really cool. The movie in itself,
they just turned the genre upside down. It's awesome.
Yeah, and so many people copied this. I mean, Dawn of the Dead came right after this, like a year or two later, and that used sprinting zombies, and like everybody now uses sprinting zombies Walking Dead. They're Walking Dead. But I thought that idea of the zombies was awesome, and the idea of taking a zombie movie that's half zombie movie and then flips to society's reaction to being in this desolate world.
Dude, the social horror,
which is almost even worse,
is incredible. And you're right. I mean, like, it's crazy that they took already an original zombie movie and then mixed it into, the like kind of like Stepford Wives, Get Out type of horror or whatever. And this was before.
What happens when there's 10 military dudes just chilling by themselves?
Hey, dude, he promised them women.
Right. The threat just totally changes.
Does it not remind you guys of Apocalypse Now?
Oh, the end is 100% like Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
Except for better, because fuck that movie.
It's so long.
You hate that movie.
Dude, it's a mess, man. It's so long, and Francis Ford Coppola just like did too much acid.
What did you give it, Gabe?
I gave it a 6.
Did you give it a 6?
I gotta point out, what
Number
a
of the
creative,
Beast.
simple
No.
title.
Oh wait, no, you gave it a
7.
7.
Sorry,
Yeah.
bruh. No Number of the Beast.
No,
667. One more of
Dude,
more than the
awesome
Number of the
title as well. I think 28 Days Later is one of the cooler titles of a movie.
For sure.
I do think it's funny that at the end they do another 28 Days Later, which I do think is cool. But the first thing that they show you after they say 28 Days Later is a memory from 28 days before when he gets shot and they're helping him. So I'm like, why don't you put that immediately after that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that did mess with me too. Now that I think about it.
Anyways, all right,
It's funny.
let's go on to originality for I Am Legend.
Okie dokie.
Nick Tellier, go ahead.
I gave it a 3.
Ooh, okay, I'm gonna bring mine down for sure.
It has been done twice before. There is a movie called Omega Man and a movie before that called Last Man on Earth. Very
Great
old
show.
movies, but they are a great show, but not. I mean, I don't know what the movie is. Omega Man is Charlton Heston though.
Nice.
And it's
Great
pretty
actor.
much the same thing as this. But not. I think they might be based on the same, but I don't know if they're based on the same book. But like, it just is a shame to me that this movie is not original. Like, I just feel like that's like such a Will Smith thing to just have like a cool movie that's like, oh yeah, but I've seen that before, and
Right.
the ending's not that cool. So
And it's based off of a
Screw you.
book too, right?
yeah, I believe so. And I mean so I just watched the alternate ending,
Yeah.
Oh,
which
yeah,
I actually think I've seen. I actually think I've seen before.
Yeah.
I mean, if the whole movie's crafted around, okay, so the way that this movie ends, not alternatively, actually, theatrically, is with him sacrificing himself. Will Smith's character sacrifices himself so Anna and Ethan can escape with the cure and give it to the people in the other place. Right? The alternate ending is he realizes that the infected are there to get their companion, this woman, infected person,
Dash's
and they're actually Dash's bitch, and they're actually
Of conscious
intelligent, social creatures. They're just not human.
Right,
really
they're like an
anymore. They're
evolved
just
version of humans.
They're just a different type of sapien, basically. And like the way that the scene unfolds in the alternate ending isn't impactful, but it's because the rest of the movie isn't like engineered to get you there.
Yeah.
And the idea that his legend is that he has been the boogeyman
For them,
for thousands of like sentient, intelligent, like feeling creatures is a way more original idea than the actual ending we get in this movie, and it just bums me out every time I think about it.
Yeah.
That's the movie I want. I want the movie where Will Smith realizes he's the monster.
Hey, man. Someday that movie will be created for you.
No, it already was, and they ruined
but that
it.
full movie.
So
Yeah, what about
don't you guys?
No, I agree.
Isn't that a better movie to you guys? I don't know.
completely agree. I mean, that's kind of why I like this movie, because they do give you a slight taste of it, and like they show that okay, these people aren't just like mindless zombies.
He copies Neville's
his trap,
traps.
and I didn't even get that till watching it this last time around. I didn't even understand like he brought him out, and that's why he's freaking. I thought he was just losing his mind, and it was an old trap that he set by accident at one point. But yeah, the idea that they actually have conscious mind and they're just infected humans. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, there isn't a whole lot of originality outside of that. I gave it a 4. I gave it an average.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of average too. I don't know. I mean, I think for people like me growing up, that like non-horror people, I thought it was like a cool zombie movie that was brought into a Last Man on Earth apocalyptic standpoint, and I thought
I want a sci-fi movie that I like it when sci-fi movies make you think.
Yeah, but I mean,
like you were just talking about with 28 Days Later. How much better is the movie once you introduce the societal? Yeah,
but I think I appreciate that more now. I'm trying to wonder, I hadn't seen a movie like I Am Legend when I was a kid. And when I saw that, I thought it was really cool. And I thought it was awesome to take like a big budget action movie and make it like literally one person. Because, one of my favorite movies of all time.
28 Days Later.
Yeah. Well, I hadn't. But like one of my favorite movies of all time is Moon with Sam Rockwell. And I love that movie. And I kind of like wanted to see like what would that be like if you put that on a grander scale? Because that's a really low budget movie. I mean, I had issues with it, but I found the way that the story is structured kind of cool. I like that they lay out that his dog is curious and that may in fact like become a problem later. I like the idea of it, his only companion being something that can't even speak back to him, but also like a highly intelligent, being, not at the level of the night seekers or whatever, dark seekers. I was kind of a little bit tipsy when I watched this movie, but like I put in a note about him freaking out when he's talking to the girl in the video store, and the like porn thing I brought up later. I put maybe it was a commentary on porn and how porn doesn't really talk back to us, and it's really a self-serving pleasure. I mean, I wouldn't doubt that the writer or director put that in there.
Do you know some of the mannequins in the store are played by real people?
No.
Yep.
I don't. Why?
Weird.
Why would you do that?
Because they move in some of the scenes if you watch closely.
Oh shit!
It's kind of eerie.
Just stop the camera and move them.
Like the mannequin in the scene that you did at the beginning.
Hank is real.
Where the Dark Seekers
or Fred.
In that scene where is it Fred?
Yeah, I said Nick.
It's Fred.
Yeah, it was Fred.
Yeah, the scene where the Dark Seeker sets the same trap that he did, and he's like, Fred. When you first see Fred, he moves.
Yeah.
His head looks at the camera.
I didn't even notice that.
It's like a split second, but it's creepy.
I have a quick question for you.
It's a cool
if
scene.
he was going alphabetically through the DVDs at that video store, how had he watched Shrek enough times to know note for note every single thing that happens in Shrek?
Well, he loves
You
Shrek.
just keep it. Well,
Yeah,
it's
but,
probably
like,
a video they had at home.
How
He already
much
had it.
time does this guy have? I'm wondering how he fits all these activities in a day, and I can't fucking do that during this quarantine. Anyways, let's move on. That was a 4 from Nick Doria and I, and a 3 from Nick Tellier.
Yeah.
Let's finish it off with Legacy.
Oh no, I gave it a 3.
Oh,
I gave it a 3.
3?
That's
I'm
right,
gonna give it a 3
baby.
too. I love that.
Nice. Half the number of the beast.
333, half the number of the beast.
Sick. That's like a half beast. I love it. Legacy.
beast.
Let's finish it off. Legacy is where we talk about like where this movie stands in the history of movies, but also like how it aged for you, and what people's reactions were to it. So let's start with I Am Legend since we're on it. Cool. I'm giving it a solid 5. I mean, Robert Neville is legend, so the legacy it's got to be a little bit high. I don't think it aged well in terms of CGI. I don't think it aged well in terms of the CGI. Over time, I like it less than I did before, but I do have to say I really liked it a lot. And this was like when Nick and I were so excited to do this episode because we're like, oh, fucking I Am Legend, such a great movie.
No, I was like 28 Days Later, such a great movie.
Well, we were excited about both of them, but yeah, I mean, 28 Days Later, I also liked more.
I liked the matchup of the two movies.
Yeah.
I think it's a good. I like to talk about these two.
This movie made $585 million worldwide, which is a shit
So
ton of
much
money.
money.
It was huge when it came out. People freaking loved it.
Yeah, it was really well liked by critics. 65 audience. It got a 7.2, which I need to note is only 0.2 higher than Den of Thieves, which is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, it has very similar
I thought it would've been more-
Rotten Tomato ratings to Den of Thieves.
It was
too.
like a 68% by audience, which I thought people loved it when it first came out. I don't know. Still, it's
think
iconic.
people-
Everyone recognizes this
People
movie.
don't like the ending of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't. The ending was widely panned.
Did that
by
hurt your
the
guys'
audience.
score?
For Legacy?
The ending?
That would maybe an originality, but not
It hurt
Legacy.
a lot of my other scores.
Yeah.
I just really think that I Am Legend falls real flat, but I do think that like legacy wise, I also gave it a 5. But I mean, it's largely because of Will Smith and the fact that the budget was like $150 million. But it has a legacy. People remember it and know its name.
For sure.
You know, it's not gonna be nominated for anything, but people like it and critics like it about equally. So
Yeah. What about you?
The only thing I really have to add is I like love Bob Marley, and this made Three Little Birds. It was never one of my like top songs by him, but every time I hear Three Little Birds,
Now you think of this?
I immediately think of I Am Legend.
That's pretty cool.
It's the only thing, it just immediately takes me right in, associate right with this movie. I think I gave it a 5. I think it's slightly above average. We did rip on it in other categories, but in terms of legacy, I think it holds up. Although the eye candy aspect holds it back, but we won't let it affect this category. But I think looking back at it, I was excited to watch I Am Legend again because I hadn't watched it in a while. So
it's kind of a movie that we all like grew up watching, and so like everyone knows what I Am Legend is, and that's gotta help it be at least above average. So 5s from all three of us. From the other 2 people in the room too.
losing your mind.
Super breaking the rules here. Okay, what about 28 Days Later Legacy? I'll let Nick Doria start with this because he loves this movie so much.
7.
Yeah, okay.
I gave it a 7. I think, originality wise too, it's kind of similar on both ends, but running zombies, huge. This like broke open the genre, like I said before. Legacy wise, in terms of what you guys are saying, it does look a little bit dated when you're looking back at it, just because of the way. But I like the way they shot it. I think it probably looked dated when we were when it came out too, just the graininess or whatever. But I like the way they shot it. I think it made it very original and very different. So I think it holds up. And yeah, I think it was just a huge movie for the horror movie as well as specifically the zombie genre.
Yeah, dude, it started a whole subgenre of zombie movies.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I mean, I'm at a 6 because for me, like personally, it's not one of my like favorite movies, and it's not like
What the fuck, dude?
it's not like a go-to movie for me. But I still, and like the visuals do subjectively bring it down a little bit for me over time. But I'm not really gonna let that affect this category.
Is the legacy, dude.
Yeah.
Right.
Think about how many scenes you see that pay homage to that first scene where Jim is walking around.
I'm not
what
letting
happened to
Oh, I
everyone?
agree. I think it has a great legacy because I'm just blending a little bit of the subjectivity with the objectivity. I still think it's well above average because I've seen this movie now 3 times. I literally remember every single scene, and that means it has to be iconic in certain ways.
Yeah, freaking
also,
Walking Dead stole
this movie made $80 million off of an $8 million budget in England at the beginning of the 2000s. That's like fucking insane. That's not a common thing, and it kind of brought Danny Boyle to a new level of like big director status.
Yeah, dude, it has a sequel. It has that iconic scene. Started a whole subgenre. It's got to be 7. I gave it a 7.
Yeah, it's not a 7 for me.
I mean,
at all.
It's also well liked by critics and viewers. It's like 80 plus.
Yeah, it's a little bit lower for audience because I
think.
think it's more of like it's artsier version of like what a lot of audiences like about horror movies. So that's why I think it was lower. That's
true.
Yeah. Yeah, but like
I mean, it's a really beloved movie.
The Walking Dead, one of the biggest shows to come out in the past decade, literally copied the exact start of that show from this movie. Waking up out of a coma in a hospital, your family didn't want to, but they had to leave you there because they thought you were likely dead.
Yeah.
Like both movies and show thought the same exact thing. You know, you walk out in your hospital gown, so confused at what's going on. One person approaches you, and Walking Dead, it's the little girl who looks fucking awesome. And then in this, it's the priest, and he hits the priest. I think it's just like, and that's like one of the biggest shows like of all time, or at least in the past decade. So I think the legacy just holds true to even copy it so similarly.
Yeah, that's why I'm giving it a 6. I mean, I think it is incredible objectively for what it did, and it has a lasting legacy for sure. All right, let's add it up, dudes. Nick Doria, what did you give 28 Days Later?
I gave it a 31.
Wow, very high.
Very high.
What about Nick Tellier?
Let's see. 11, 21, 27?
Okay. Yeah, I'm at
27, baby.
Noise.
okay, I think I'm at what did you guys give for I Am Legend?
I gave it
21.
I gave it a 19.
Okay. Yeah, I'm at an 18 for I Am Legend. And out of 35, and I'm at a 24 out of 35 for 28 Days Later, which was higher than I originally had it. Oh wait, no, I'm at a 25. Sorry, 25 for 28 Days Later, which I actually which is decent. So what is that altogether, Nick? Do you know?
No idea.
Okay, well, it's high. 28 Days Later won, probably significantly, but yeah, I mean, they're both like pretty good movies, and so
I am very surprised that I had the highest I Am Legend score out of the 3 of us.
I'm not as surprised. You're basic.
Yeah, we're not surprised over here.
All right, let's get into our accolade section, which we've souped up since you've been on the pod, Nick
man.
Doria. So let's start it off with our typical one. Let's talk about MVP. What's the MVP of these 2 movies?
I Am Legend MVP. I mean, you want to say Will Smith? I think the dog. Dog was the MVP in my eyes. Yeah, like it brought a whole emotional aspect that was phenomenal in the movie. Everybody loves and hates sad dog scenes, and I think the dog did a great job.
Oh, you could choose an MVP altogether if you have.
Oh, out of both?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You know what? I'm sticking with the dog.
Yeah, the dog's awesome. Sick. Viruses.
dog.
Viruses really won these 2 movies.
Yeah, I went with viral infections as well.
Rage for sure won both. There's a lot of rage in each. LVP, I put Mark, the character Mark, because what a shitty way to go out.
I
When
know.
his arm, he's just like, he meets this guy. He's already depressed and shit. And this guy idiotically plays a movie on the projector. And then he, saving the guy, gets infected for a second and then gets his arm chopped off before he's hacked to death.
Yeah, sucks for him. Sucks for him. Strong LVP.
LVP Earth, for sure. Well, I guess you can.
I gave it to the little girl Hannah.
Yep, that's what I did. On
Yeah,
mine,
she
too.
sucks at acting. Yeah.
She
Awful.
might as well be a fucking
bag of
zucchini.
dirt.
Yeah, man.
What
Don't take
about,
Brendan Gleeson. Take her.
What about Sixth Man, the person who did the least or the most with the least? I've done this every time, and I'm going to continue to fuck that up, okay, audience? Who did the most with the least?
The guy that plays the priest in The Leftovers.
Oh, yeah, Christopher Eccleston. He's a great actor.
Yeah. He's my sixth man.
What about you, Nick Doria?
I gave it to the military base, not the commanding officer, but
The sergeant?
not the sergeant.
Oh.
I was close to
The
giving
zombie?
it to him, giving it to the huge dickhead.
Oh, he was pretty good.
He just,
He's good.
He really makes
Dude,
it
how about the guy
polarizing.
that plays the zombie?
Yeah,
the
that guy's good.
African-American dude that plays the
I
zombie?
forgot to
that
mention.
guy crushes it.
The
Yeah.
sergeant is so good.
Yeah.
The one who's like keeping his like faith and stuff, and like they like
Oh,
punish
yeah.
because of
True,
that.
true, yeah.
I thought that guy was great. I'm giving it to Emma Thompson, who's
yeah.
an extremely
Dame Emma
famous
Thompson.
actress who cures cancer using measles. And I thought the way that she delivered those lines was great, and you get like 10 seconds of her. Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
guess
she's
you could
like,
say
yeah,
And then she
Yeah,
invents
Yeah, I
KV.
guess you could say I'll take that.
And then they named this
in it-
horrible disease after her.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they do name it after her, huh?
It's Killy or whatever it is.
That's
It's
fucked
like the
up.
Cillian virus.
Did you guys have
Last name
a
is like
well? Speaking of
Cillian
which,
or
did you
something.
guys have a comeback player of the year? The performance that grew on you the most throughout the movie?
Cillian Murphy?
Yeah, same with me, Jim.
100%.
Well, because he's such an
100%.
annoying character in the first half of the movie, and then he's
such a
so dope in the
dummy.
end. He
Yeah.
gouges that dude's eyes out,
Yeah, just
and that guy is
funds
a
it all.
very well-trained military villain.
Right.
Like,
and he's
it's
just a
great.
sickly.
yeah,
Bike
he's
boy.
a sickly boy. Yeah. And he rocks that disgusting haircut from his surgery as well. I dig it.
Yeah.
Do you have okay, so what is your guys' all-star team? Pick 5 performances that you would take from each of these. This is really hard with this movie because like
There's so few
there's
people.
almost no
There are
performances
so
in
few.
the other one, but yeah. What about you, Nick Tellier?
Will Smith, Cillian Murphy, Naomi Harris, Abby the dog, and the guy the African American guy that plays the infected
Oh my
soldier.
god. Gee.
Wow.
Relax over there, okay?
You know what?
What about you,
I
Doria?
like that. I'm changing it. I'm
No,
changing it to that
I hate
last
this.
guy,
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy, Brendan
He's-
Gleeson.
he's great,
and the dog.
dude.
That's only 4, but we don't need a 5th.
I got Will Smith, Brendan Gleeson, Abby the dog, Christopher Eccleston, the Major West, and then Naomi Harris, who I thought was really good in this, and I forgot she was in it. Do you have an Infant Troopin' Award for like dumbest moment?
Sleeping in the
Dude,
tub.
the scene where he goes after Fred,
interesting.
the mannequin, is so dumb.
so dumb, so pointless. Just like,
Yeah, I mean he's lost his mind.
But
for
I guess
sure.
yeah, they are moving it and they're fucking with him. So I
Yeah.
mean, that would make you kind of lose your mind a bit. But
It's just so funny to me that the whole time, like for 2.5 years, he studies these things and he never once was like, that was weird how smart that was.
right,
Yeah.
right. It took the day of him taking one of the wives or whatever
Right.
for them to actually.
They've never done anything remotely resembling something intelligent where he's been like, huh.
Yeah. It's a little weird.
I don't know.
I'd say I really, really, really hate as a movie moment the scene when he goes into the gas station in 28 Days Later. I just there's just no point to that scene.
Dude, you got to snap into that Slim Jim, baby.
Yeah, dude.
you
He doesn't
need
even get a
snacks,
Slim Jim.
combos. He needed
If
combos for the
walked out
road.
with oh, he does have he has like some kind of snack.
Does
no,
he?
does he have anything but his baseball bat and his
Pepsi or
his
Tango.
newfound sense of
Snap a Tango.
dignity? Yeah. Do you have a best moment for either of these movies?
I love the opening scene to 28 Days Later.
For sure.
I love
Yeah,
that. I think
it's gotta be
awesome.
that.
Oh,
It's-
you mean when he wakes up in the hospital, not the rage monkey
actually,
or
honestly,
ape?
both.
Sorry.
It kicks in strong.
It's an ape. Koba is ape.
I think it is great. Like I maybe both, I guess, but I don't know. the idiots, just like the activists trying to do the right thing and then immediately causing the worst thing to ever happen to humanity. But yeah, also just the iconic walking around in abandoned London.
So cool.
Is
which we wouldn't have I Am Legend without that, for sure.
For sure.
What about you, Nick Tellier? You have a favorite moment?
Oh, yeah, the first 15, 20 minutes of 28 Days Later.
I think my favorite scene from 28 Days Later, and like my favorite scene overall, is the dinner scene with the military. Because it's the first moment you start figuring out something is off, and the way that Major West addresses his like soldiers, it's like a really bizarrely made scene that works really well, and it kind of puts you in this sense of like, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah, talking about the girls cooking.
When he makes the food and then he gets really mad about the eggs and then the other people are getting mad about it and then he's going off on the sergeant.
Yeah.
And I love that scene. Do you guys have any recommendations of things that people should watch?
Dawn of the Dead. If you like 28 Days Later, Dawn of the Dead is another great.
The one by what's his name? Zack Snyder?
Yes.
Or the
Zack
okay.
Snyder. Yeah.
Nice.
The newest, Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Great movie, great zombie movie. That'd probably be my recommendation.
I'm going to recommend 28 Weeks Later.
True.
Oh, I've been told that 28 Weeks Later sucks. I only watched it once and I don't remember.
No, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's not as good. It's not as artsy.
Dude,
or
there's
as
a fucking
interesting.
crazy Korean movie that's on Netflix and Amazon Prime right now that people are obsessed with. Did you see it?
Train to Busan?
Yeah, it's sick. It's dumb, but it's sick. It has the kid from Parasite.
The translations, maybe that like what really ruined it for me.
Some of the acting is
it doesn't
off.
match up with the vibe of the scenes and how unrealistic them barging from.
Dude, but some scenes are really cool.
Some of it was good, but people do love that movie.
Because you said Dawn of the Dead, Shaun of the Dead is
true.
great, and I think people should really watch that. And I thought that was a genre blending like original movie. The Ravenous is a cool zombie outbreak movie. It's a French one. It's on Netflix. It's really well done. Ooh, I got a book series for people. And I'm very serious about this. It's a fucking awesome book. And I was living with Nick Tellier at the time that I was reading this, and I was freaking out every few moments. But it's called The Passage. It's a trilogy. It starts out about they take death row inmates. They find this like kind of vampire, like from bats. They find this like serum or whatever that gives you like super strength, and they test it out on these death row inmates. And they become to make like super military soldiers or whatever, and it goes horribly bad. And the first half of the book is all about that and them like collecting all the guys and then collecting the special person. And the second half of the book is like
the fallout.
It's like 60 years later.
Oh.
And it's like a new society. It's like a post-apocalyptic society as there's been an outbreak. And they are like, these are like, if you think the I Am Legend, like zombies are like scary in terms of their abilities and stuff, these are like way scarier. And they all follow the death row inmates who become like the 12, like they're basically it's like almost biblical in a certain way. Yeah. The book is sick. It's really fucked up though. I don't recommend it for people. It's like very much an adult book, and there are some horrific things that happen, but it is so well done. Honestly,
have you guys ever read World War Z?
No, I
never read it. No,
dude, that book is incredible. And it is written by Mel Brooks's son, Max.
Oh shit,
I didn't know that.
And it is expertly researched, so it very much details how a pandemic spreads.
Good.
But in this very unique narrative way. I very highly recommend ordering it on Amazon. It'll get to you in 6 to 8 weeks.
I do wish that they made the movie the way that the book sounds or whatever, and I think they're going to I think David Fincher is remaking it, and it's going to be like the book, which is going to be
good
sick,
because the book is horrifying.
Yeah. I recommend another Outbreak book that Nick and I love. If you love Fight Club, Chuck Palahniuk wrote Rant, which is like this incredible sci-fi book that's all told in a series of interviews. And it is, if you like Fight Club, I would read all of Chuck Palahniuk's books. I fucking love them.
Yeah, and if you like
But
Fight Club
Rant-
and World War Z, you should definitely
Rant is sick.
read
And
Rant,
Rant,
because it's the
like
combination
halfway
of those
through
two
the
books.
book, turns into sci-fi, and it's insane. Definitely recommend that. You guys can follow us on social media. Hey guys, I'm on Instagram, Facing Off Podcast. Look up Instagram.com/facingoffpod. Nick Picks. Do you want people to follow you on Instagram?
They already do.
Yeah. Nick Picks 8
Yeah,
or
ever
6?
since the first 6.
Yeah.
First time I came on, I think I jumped by I doubled in followers.
Did you? Holy shit. He's so popular.
10 to 12.
Well, yeah, and if you are a big fan of Nick Pick 66 and you're not following us, what are you doing?
What are you
Follow us,
doing?
dude. It's so fun. I also give a bunch of recommendations. I just put out recommendations for movies that are on Amazon Prime, in addition to the ones on Netflix. You could also follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/facingoffpod, and send us emails. We didn't get any emails for this one. Shocker. Facingoffpodcast@gmail.com.
We have been doing these way more than...
Yeah, and we're going to slow down a little bit,
you
but
got
send
the
us an
extra
email.
time. You're
Yeah,
home.
let us know what's going on while you're at home alone. Guys, do you guys have a send-off?
You want to see some infected rats?
Wait for me! Wait for me!
Selena! Wait!
Slow down!
Please, Selena! All right, see you guys.